Hey guys, Marstingan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so today we are going to do the team building guide for the STR God Vegeta and the Tech God Goku EZA that we'll be releasing on JP. I think by the time this video is scheduled to go out, I think the event comes out in about 6.5 hours, 6 hours, something like that. So it gives you guys a little bit of time to watch this, leave some comments, discuss, and then build your team ready for the event. So it's typical 30 stage EZA. It's the destined rivals like 4. So it's one of those typical ones where you fight Goku and Vegeta. So you fight Vegeta for the first few stages, the SSR form, then the Goku SSR form, then you go up to the actual God Vegeta, then the God Goku, and then once you get to stage 21, you fight both of them at the same time. The unit typing that is not best to use for this EZA because it gets the damage reduction is Tech. So you want to try and avoid Tech units on your team as much as possible in terms of damage reduction. You can still bring Tech units that will be very good defensively. They're just going to not do a lot of damage by the time you get to the final 10 stages of the EZA. So the weakness for this one is Pure Saiyans. So this is an interesting one because Pure Saiyans is obviously a massive category with a ton of options. So this team building guide, rather than make the video incredibly long, probably going to do things a little bit differently this time around because, good lord, there are a lot of options here. So, like I said, we're going to do things a little bit differently for this team building guide. So normally I go over all of my top picks and honourable mentions, and then I ask you guys to let me know if there's any units that I didn't cover that you think should have been included down below in the comments section. But the problem is, of course, as you guys are probably well aware at this point, that Pure Saiyans is probably the biggest category in the game. There are so many options, and there are so many different options for leaders, like teams within teams, right? Like a team that you can make that is a specific category, but that is also fully inclusive of like a Pure Saiyans build. So very, very difficult to really do the same kind of thing that I do with my normal team building guides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of my top picks for the leaders for you to bring. And then, of course, based on your own box, you can determine which of those is the best option that you can build a team from using the Pure Saiyan units that you have. And there are a couple of units I wanted to mention that I think you should bring, you know, regardless of what leader skill, as long as they're, you know, they actually fit under it, of course. But we're going to mostly focus on the leaders. So if you do find this guide useful at all, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you guys think down below. But let us go ahead and jump in. So straight away, I'm going to talk about the two new LRs, because obviously they are on Pure Saiyans. Now, the gods, they are a tech unit, so once you get to stage 20, they're not going to be doing much damage. But they do guard on turn 1. They raise defense on super. You can obviously get the guaranteed additional super when you get to 20 key. They're still going to be very, very good defensively, even though they won't be doing that much damage once you get closer to the end of the event. So, not necessarily the #1 choice, but obviously their leader skill, beyond Super Saiyan and movie heroes, you can make a huge option of teams for Pure Saiyans. And then, of course, they're giving that extra buff to Kamehameha, which, of course, again, there's a lot of units that can fit under that 200% leader skill. So, whilst these guys might not be performing as well as they would in a normal event because they're tech, they're obviously going to be providing that 200% leader skill buff to a lot of units who are very, very powerful. And then, of course, if you do get to turn 4, you can transform into the Super Saiyan Blues. But realistically, you don't get a huge benefit out of this when you're from stage 20 onwards because, again, they're not going to really be doing that much damage. You can use their active skill straight away if the enemy's already under 50% HP, which by turn 4 is probably quite likely. But, again, they're tech, so even the active skill is not going to do that much damage. But, hey, at the end of the day, it's free extra damage, right? So then we go on to the Super Saiyan 4s, who obviously are the better option because they're not tech. Now, you do fight against God Vegeta, who's STR, but they guard on the first turn, then they're raising defense on all of their super attacks. So by the time they get to their second turn, as long as you've got enough key for them in the first turn, they've already super attacked twice. So the only time they're really going to take any sort of damage is if God Vegeta super attacks them. And so again, they lead Fused Fighters and GT Heroes. Fused Fighters is the fusion category we always wanted because it has all of the fusion dance and all of the Potara characters. So that means all of the characters who start off as just Goku and Vegeta and then fuse are all going to be on this team, right? So you can run the STR Vegito, you can run the physical like year 3 Gogeta, and he'll be getting the 200% leader skill. Like, this team is probably going to be the strongest option because it's very easy to make a pure Saiyans team. And then of course GT heroes as well. So units like physical GT Goku, the Int GT Vegeta, even though he doesn't get the full 200% leader skill, but very easy to make a pure Saiyans team under this leader skill. And then again, just like the gods, you can use the active skill on turn 4, fuse into Gogeta. The enemy probably is already at low enough health, but he doesn't suffer the 80% damage reduction, so his active skill is probably just going to then finish them off if you manage to get to turn 4 and actually transform with him. So very, very strong. Probably the best team leader option because he offers that 200% lead to a bunch of the units. But I know obviously a lot of people don't have him, but we started off with the 2 anniversary LRs. Then we have the good old Namek Goku. So came out during the download celebration, but has returned on the anniversary banners. He leads Legendary Existence or Super Saiyans. So again, very easy to make a full pure Saiyan team out of this. You can use the Legendary Super Saiyan Brolys on Legendary Existence. So obviously LR Broly can be firing off his AoEs at God Goku and God Vegeta, as well as having better defense and everything because there is not only a pure Saiyan but a Goku family enemy. Also Int Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, the TUR, will be really good here as well because he has better defense overall than the LR and has damage reduction. So going to be very, very good in this EZA. And then of course Super Saiyans, very easy to make pure Saiyan team out of that. There are a bunch of other pure Saiyans in Legendary Existence as well. And then of course Namek Goku, if he gets hit in slot 1, he gets a guaranteed additional super. So if you get a rotation where it's only God Goku attacking in slot 1, and this guy's going to have type advantage, you can just go ahead and put him in slot 1, let him get hit, get that additional super attack off, and then he is going to be very, very strong as well. You can't use his active skill, unfortunately, because we're fighting super type enemies, but again, he is a very, very good option to lead a team. Next up, we have the STR Vegito. We talked about him a little bit already. Leads Battle of Wits or Majin Buu Saga. So, whilst it's not necessarily the most powerful team build, you can obviously build a full pure Saiyans team out of this. I mean, Majin Buu Saga obviously has the physical Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who's one of the best TURs in the game. So this team build can be very, very strong. And then obviously if you are starting to lose a little bit of health, if you're starting to find the last couple of stages getting a bit difficult, once you get to turn 4, you can fuse with them and then get a heal, which is very good. And then of course once you fuse into Vegito, you get to see where the super attacks are. You can counter normal attacks. So basically just like the anniversary LRs, once you get to the turn where you can fuse, you're probably going to win that turn. And yeah, you can build a very solid Battle of Wits or Majin Buu Saga team out of pure Saiyans. Next up, I wanted to very briefly mention these guys because obviously they're tech. So again, they're not going to do crazy damage, but they are a unit that can go on these like fused fighter teams and stuff like that, and they fuse into Gogeta. Time limit or connected hopes, you can't make the craziest pure Saiyans team, but if it's one of your only options, then you can make a pretty solid team out of that. You just have to remember, of course, that because they're tech, they're not going to be doing a huge amount of damage by the time you get to the end of the event. But they're still an option worth considering as well, because they're still very good defensively. Once they fuse into Gogeta, they also get the Scouter effect. They still have damage reduction, so they can actually be a very good defensive unit, even if they're not going to be doing the most damage. So next up we have UI Goku. So the good old classic AGL UI Goku, Miraculous Awakening or Reps of Universe 7. You can make a full Pure Saiyans team under his leader skill. Obviously with the 70% chance to dodge, he can potentially be incredibly powerful in an EZA because, you know, EZAs don't disable dodge or anything like that. So you can very easily get those good RNG turns where he's just going to dodge absolutely everything. And then he has the 50% chance to crit on super, gets guaranteed crits on any follow-up super attacks. He has the revival, but his is obviously quite hard to actually get to activate because he actually has to take hits, and then you have to be on the turn with him at the right HP. And in an EZA, you probably are either going to beat it or have lost already by the time you would get to the point where you could use his revival skill. But he's still going to be a very, very powerful unit overall. And then, of course, SSBE Vegeta, you can use him on that team, or you can use him as the leader. Powerful comeback or Reps of Universe 7. Again, you can make a strong Pure Saiyans team. In Easy A's, he's quite good, like especially if God Goku is attacking a lot in slot 1, because as he takes those hits, he's building up his damage reduction, and it's always a little bit better for him to be taking hits from a weaker enemy to start building up that damage reduction. So if you've got a turn where God Goku's attacking a whole bunch in slot 1, you can put him there, build up that damage reduction, and then when he takes the hits from God Vegeta, he's not going to take as much damage. He's still a solid unit overall. I think he's underrated overall, but people do love to rag on him these days. But in an Easy A, he definitely can be very, very good. Next up, we have the LR Super Saiyan 4s. So I included both of them here. Obviously, they have their family leader skill. So for either of them, it's very easy to make a full Pure Saiyan team. So Goku family, obviously every single Goku is on here. Units like Easy A LR Bardock is really good as well. Obviously, the team's going to be mostly Gokus, right? And maybe physical LR Bardock. But, you know, Goku has some of the best units in the game. So, unsurprising that this team would be very strong for Pure Saiyans. Goku obviously needs to super to get his defense. So, even on this team, you'd maybe use him as like a third slot float, potentially. But remember, of course, that he is a GT hero. So, you could build a team that is full Goku family units that are also on like GT Heroes or Fusion Fighters, and then have the LR Friend. Even if you have 1 or 2 units that aren't necessarily under like the Friend leader skill, bringing the LR Super Saiyan 4s as a friend is obviously going to be a lot of added firepower, even if they're not necessarily supporting the whole team. And then, of course, for Vegeta, his team, sadly, is mostly Vegetas, because there's no good King Vegeta, there's no good Tarball, and then that's basically it for Pure Saiyans. But there are a lot of very good Vegetas, especially like STR Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, who's still one of the best tanks in the game for short content. So STR Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, you can just put him wherever all the attacks are, and then he is not going to take any damage at all. And then for the Vegeta himself, he obviously needs to 18 key super in order for him to have his defense. But you can build the team in such a way that that's not super difficult. Obviously, remember that both the family teams have the Xeno Super Saiyans from the most recent Heroes Awakenings, who are 40% support units for their family team, as well as being infinite stackers. So they are very, very good as well. And then, of course, we have the Super Saiyan 2 Goku himself. We've already talked about teams that you can run him on. Battle of Fate or Accelerated Battle, you can make a full Pure Saiyans team. Not necessarily the best team in the world, but I mean, it's going to be pretty much hard carried by this Goku. The problem with some of these teams, of course, when it comes to doing these Easy A's, is being able to find the actual friend units. Because, like, if you build a full team with this Goku, are you going to be able to find this Goku as a friend? Now, he's a little bit easier to find on JP because he's still one of the best TURs in the game, so people will still have him set as their leader. But consistently finding one for all 30 stages might be a little bit difficult. So you can make a team out of him, but he's one of those units that's probably best if you have him. You definitely want to try and incorporate him onto one of the teams that you are building. So next up we have the 2 GT Super Saiyans. I thought I'd mention them just because obviously they are GT Heroes leaders. So if you don't have the new LR, you can bring them as a leader, make a full GT Heroes team, and then run the friend LR Super Saiyan 4s, and then that team is going to be incredibly powerful. Obviously, you can run both of them on that team, and then they do have the sub-lead for their family, so you can throw in some other units. Like, if you don't have a huge amount of GT heroes that can run under the LR's leader skill, you can always bring a friend GT Goku or Vegeta, so you're running a proper just GT Heroes and then family team. So let's say, for example, you want to run this guy as the leader, you could run this guy as a friend, and then you can throw on some Goku family units, like that physical Super Saiyan 2 Goku. So you can shore up the differences if you don't have like a full, really good GT Heroes team. So those two are definitely very strong options as well. And then, of course, we have to talk about Super Vegeta right at the end, because he is the proper Pure Saiyans lead. So if you want to make a team that just features any of your Pure Saiyan units, I mean, if you've pulled, like, if you have every single unit we've talked about already, then, I mean, you could literally just go ahead and use this guy as a leader and then just use, like, all these crazy LRs on this team, right? Pure Saiyans is absolutely wild when it comes to options, and this guy will be very good in the Easy A as well, getting the guaranteed crits. Like, he's going to be doing a ton of damage. And so he is obviously a very solid option. I brought up the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta page before I decided I probably shouldn't go into detail about separate units too much, because then we would be here forever. But yeah, this guy just going to be absolutely great if you're going to run either a Pure Saiyans lead or a Vegeta family lead. He's on Beyond Super Saiyan, of course, because he's a Super Saiyan 3. So again, that's another reason why the Tech Gods lead is really good, even though they're not necessarily going to be doing a lot of damage. So Pure Saiyans is a huge category. If we went over every single honorable mention, we would probably be here forever. But like, basically any of the LRs that are not tech will be doing pretty decently. Same with like the URs. Like any units that's not tech, as long as they're not a super old, outdated unit, they're going to be able to do reasonably well. So the way you want to try and build your team for this is to go through some of these options that we've talked about with these really powerful units that have these categories, and then just decide based on your box, like which team can you make that features the most powerful of your Pure Saiyans units. So like I say, a little bit of a different team building guide this time around, but Pure Saiyans is just one of those categories that is too big to really go over every single honorable mention in the game. So let me know what you guys think down below. What are you thinking for building your team? Like I say, let me know, even though I couldn't go over like all the top picks and honorable mentions, if there's any units that you think should be highlighted that will be really, really good. Although I've just realized, because this is this late in the video, I bet a bunch of people won't even wait to get to this point. You don't need to comment, but yes, Tech Caulifla will be really good, because of course she's going to have a 100% chance to dodge for the entire event. So even if she doesn't fit on your leader skill, you could just bring her as another unit that can't take any damage. So I guess that is a good way to fill out some of the gaps, right? Like if you can't make a full Fused Fighters or GT Heroes team, you can just throw Tech Caulifla in one of those empty slots. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below, and let me know what your team build is going to look like for this event. This one will be tricky for me. Like I say, I've been working on a JP account recently, but I think this one will be quite tricky for me. But I might try it on stream and we'll see how it goes. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.